Let's talk about creating campaigns. So campaigns are part of marketing, marketing being a much larger discussion than just campaigns. But campaigns are what most people think about as marketing. So a campaign is a way for you to present yourself to the market. This can be either paid or unpaid. So let's start by going to the campaigns page, or the marketing page. That is the one with the bullhorn at the top. And you will see two tabs, campaigns and referrals. Let's make sure we're on campaigns and hit add new campaign. The reason that we track campaigns is we need to understand where our money is going for marketing and whether or not it's bringing us the results that we want. Those results could be monetary, money, coming in, but it can also be quality. So we can also track the quality of the clients that we get. Do we get clients that are a good fit for us? Do we get clients who actually pay their bills? Or do we get clients that argue with us all the time? We can track that throughout the system, but first you have to start by putting in some campaigns. So what kind of campaigns are there? If you look at the category drop down, you'll see a good number of them set up in here. And these are, again, categories. So an ad would be an ad in a newspaper. An agency could be an agency that refers to you, leads. Bulletins, that could be a bulletin for your local church, for your local fire department. Chamber of Commerce is always a good thing to get involved in. Charity and community events, if you decide that you are going to contribute to one of these charities in a public way. Establishments, this could be a restaurant. So for example, we have a client who pays to put a small ad on each of the tables in a local Mexican restaurant. A leave behind is generally your business card. So for example, if you go somewhere and you leave a stack of your business cards up on a cork board, that would be a leave behind. Leave behind could also be pins. So for example, we have a client that puts their name on pins and hands out their pins pretty much everywhere they go. Networking groups. There are lots and lots of different types of networking groups. Some of them you pay to get in, some of them are a little bit less formal. Newsletter, this is a newsletter that you put out. I suppose it could also be somebody else's newsletter, but generally it's your newsletter. Periodical, this would be a magazine or a newspaper ad. So it's a type of ad, but it's specific in that it is a periodical and not an advertisement. So for example, a billboard would probably be better categorized as ad, whereas a newspaper would be a periodical. Personal contact. This is people that you just know. It could be somebody you run into in the supermarket. We have a number of clients who have found people literally just while going to a triathlon, for example. You run into somebody, you find out they need some help, you give them your card, you get that personal contact. Search engines, this would be somebody found you on Google. They could find you on Yahoo. Social media is different. That's something like Facebook or Instagram, where you are specifically paying or putting effort into the social media platform in order to get people to come to your website. Social media is usually a very indirect way. Usually social media gets people to your website and the website gets them to call you, but it is a contributing factor. And when we get to leads, where we choose campaigns and how they got to us, you can choose multiple things. So someone may have found you on a search engine and then later saw you on social media. And then, a week later, a friend referred them to you. And you can have all three of those in your lead. Okay. Sponsorship. This would be if you sponsor maybe a local sports team. Walk-in. If you have a physical office, it's not uncommon for someone to see your sign day after day, and then they finally have a problem, and they just pull up and say, hey, can I talk to the attorney? And then finally is website. And that's what we'll start with. Every attorney should have a website. We're in the 2020s. If you don't have a website, I'm not really sure how you think people are going to find you. So let's add a website here. We'll just call it website. And website here refers to, for any campaign, what's the website where this is. You may not think it's important, but later on you're going to look back at something from 5 years ago and say, where did I find that? And this is going to tell you. So the website here will be jessicataylorlaw.com. Date range. date range is important if this is a limited campaign. So for example, let's say that you do a periodical, and that periodical is going to go out for 6 months, and you're going to be in it every month for 6 months. You may later on decide to do that campaign again, in which case you could create a new campaign for it specific to that run, because you may, for example, change the ad. So you might have multiple campaigns for the same type of thing, but you want to A/B test exactly how the results come in. So recurring, is this a recurring campaign? That means, is there a payment that you have to make every month? Now in this case, let's say that this is a hosted website, and yes, we're going to pay, let's say, $10 a month to a hosting company to host it for us. We'll say yes, it's recurring. It repeats every month, and we'll say the cost is the same every month and it's $10. This can be changed later on, but it's important to at least get the first cost in there. And you can see right away that it's already entered for us that first amount, and it's based on this date range here. All right. So let's talk about time. Time is money. When you invest time in a campaign, that is time you could be spending on client work, assuming you have client work to be done. But either way, it's important to understand the relationship between effort and cost. So let's say that we spent 4 hours working on content for this website. Work on content for website, right? And we knew it would take about 4 hours. All right, let's go ahead and add that. We'll say we completed it already. Oops, sorry. 4 hours. We completed it. Get a ding. There we go. So we billed $200 an hour. That means we just spent $800 of our time, if you will, on the website. So nothing's free. If you're spending time on it, it's not free. We've got $10 a month that's going to add up here, and then hard costs. Let's say that we had to buy a domain name for ourselves. So let's say we did that on 5/20. Bought a domain name, and we paid $18 for it. Okay. All right. That's about it. We'll leave a comment that domain name was bought from GoDaddy. That way we know where we got it from. And that's all of it. So that creates the first campaign. Now once we have campaigns in the system, we'll actually see some charts and graphs up here. And what this is showing is where we spent our money. So the width up here, $828, is how much we spent. And then this is our returns over here. $0 collected. So later on, when somebody goes to the website and contacts you, and you create a lead, and they say, hey, I found you with, through your website on a Google search, for example, you'll have that information captured. When that converts to a case and you start doing work for them, the moment they pay their first bill, you will actually see some dollars show up over here. And over time, you're going to add more of these campaigns. We'll add, 1 or 2 more right here. And you can add these at any time. But let's go ahead and add another campaign for walk-ins. And this one's not a recurring campaign. There was no cost to it whatsoever. We just want to get it in the system so we can choose it. All right? So let's start with that, and let's go over and look at a lead. So let's say we had a DWI here. We can now select the campaign where they found us. Let's say they found us through the website. Right? So they haven't paid us any money yet. This is still just a lead, but this is how you hook it up. Now, they could have seen us on the website and decided to walk in. We can add that too. When you're done, you just hit enter. All right? When we go back to our campaigns and we take a look at these, we will now see, if we scroll down under leads and cases, DWI John Gray. So this will tell us exactly who's come in through this method. And the charts and graphs up top will tell us exactly how that's converting to cash for us. So we have 3 graphs. One of them is flow, one of them is spend, and one of them is returns. Right? We don't have any returns yet, so we're not going to see anything interesting. All right? That's how you add campaigns to the system and how they're used. In another video, we'll show a system with a lot more data in it, so you can see exactly what it looks like when you have a lot of data in the system, and you can actually start making some decisions based on this, because the idea is that when you have enough data, say 6 months to a year's worth of data, you can decide, is this a good campaign? Did it bring me good people? Should I put more money in this, or should I pull the funding from it? Those are all decisions you can only make once you have all of the data that's flowing through the system.